Hey, Yeti Trades here. Let's go over just a couple trades I took today. We're going to start here with net, and this one really messed up my morning. I did go long on it, but this time frame through here was so volatile with how big the movement on these candles were, and even on shares, the spread was 8, 10, 12 cents apart sometimes. So even just trying to go long on shares was pretty volatile here. I was looking to go long, and I just didn't give it enough time. But I wasn't anticipating such volatility. So we'll switch here to the 2 minute. What I did up here is watch this pullback come through. We came off and we bounced back into the red to green spot. So this zone down here is my initial spot I wanted to go long. I wanted it to pull down into here and hit it off this area, which would have been way smarter than what I did. But at the same time, all of a sudden we got this big green volume candle buying it back up, pushing it green. So I was like, all right, we took profits here, and maybe we're going to turn around and start pushing back up. But the volatility was still pretty high, and I paid for that in the options. I went long on it on this candle here, this 2 minute candle, when we came down, retested this red to green spot and held. So I got it basically on a move up, and things were moving very quick. And the spread was a little far apart. It was about 15 cents at the time. So, of course, I got a terrible fill. And the longer this all played out through here, the quicker the price continued to drop on those options. So I watched it pull all the way back. This was my test zone. It came down, held. I would have loved a double tap right here. I would have added more down at this position. But because I didn't get it, I waited for this candle to open up and I added to the position here, average down. But the pricing was still crazy. Super volatile. These cons, I bought 73s weeklies, and I think I paid like $1 for these down here. And up here, I paid somewhere around $1.60 for the same con. So my average at this point was like $1.33. And even all the way back up here, as we're breaking this line I drew this morning, the 72.13 resistance spot, we're breaking over it, thinking I got it in the bag, but at the same time worried about how many green big candles we just put in a row. And even all the way up here, I did not get back to break even. They were still about 15 cents short under my average. And then, of course, this big pullback really dropped them down. I ended up cutting it somewhere in this zone because I saw us come back up on a big push. And in the back of my mind, I knew this big candle was not going to hold. It didn't. So I cut it somewhere on these three candles. I don't remember where. So it took a big fat loss on this play this morning. I've never played net. It was my first time. I've been having a lot of first time experiences these last 2 weeks with names I've never played before. And, that is part of the learning curve if you're going to wander outside of stocks you're well familiar with. And later in the day, it ended up having a really nice pull coming back up. Up here, I would have been able to have sold for a profit. Like I said, my average was about 133. And I think up here they were hitting like 145 or so. But even from here to this little pullback into close right here, they went from about 145 back to about 90 cents. It was kind of crazy. So I'm not sure net's going to be on my playlist. I mean, if I would have gotten filled down here, that'd be a different story. There's still a lot of volatility to play with or to deal with, but down here this morning, they had a low at about 65 cents. So if I would have just waited and not hit anything unless it touched my zone, I would have been golden. And I'll show you why I drew up this zone. No, I won't. Yes, I will. Just playing it off of the highs, the recent highs. That's all. Plain and simple. We had, what day is this? Friday. So drew it up off of Friday's highs. And you can see where we had a lot of resistance on it Monday. And then that resistance turned into support. That's all I was looking to play. This flip from resistance to support. And had I waited for this come down and kiss it, I would have banked. But instead I cut it and then checked it later to see that it still played out. But man, I know when it went from here to here, these were way down. So even, had I still been in up here, I would have broken so many rules letting it come down to here as far as loss amount on those options. So to stay green on the day, I covered my NKLA trade. I re-entered it here yesterday, bought shares, and then up here, I sold covered calls against half of the shares that I bought. So this morning, I sold those half of those shares. Let's see, where are we? 260. So about 265 is where I sold half of those shares and took that profit. And then I went ahead and sold the other half, and I took the loss on the covered call because the price of the call went up. But I was so up on the shares that I still made good money on paying to close that position and then taking the profits from the shares. So I'll look to re-enter NKLA if it gives me a good opportunity. The earnings date is August 3rd. Hopefully we get one little more pullback down into this area. I would love to go long on it again. But that's really the two plays I want to go over. And it was basically just, not enough patience, letting that first open kind of get in your mind, thinking you got to slap it quick, otherwise you're going to miss it. And that mentality set me back a bit, and I had to close a position I didn't want to close yet in order to cover it. So that's what I got for you guys today. Stay patient, wait for your setup to work, and if it moves without you, wait for that next target entry point. Don't slap it on the chase. See you guys next time.